B'ezrat Hashem. Welcome everybody. Shir of spermicius. Maisi Mechiger. That's the story of the cripple. This Pasha, Pasha Hashem next week's going to be, Pasha Struma is going to be, Pasha Spara is going to be, it's Hashem. We're getting close, oh Hashem. So I have emailed you the last time the actual file of the story, so you can sort of remember it. Maybe I can see if I can bring up the file for now, just so that we will be able to see what it is that we are reading here. Before, okay, here we go. So, okay, here it is. Right. So basically, we talked about the story of the Chacham that had his children, and he told them, his children, what the main thing, the main occupation that they need to get themselves busy with is to water trees. And he says you have reshus for boys and other parnassus, but the main thing is you should water trees. And we mentioned that watering trees means doing good to somebody else, being the car of somebody else. Rabbeinu says that in Sichas Aran, that when a person himself is not successful in the voice of Hashem, or even in anything, so the tendency is, if I'm not successful, so I'd rather somebody else also not to be successful. So Ben says, I think it says Sefer Amid, it's not in Sichas Aran, that when a person says, something, I may not succeed, but at least let somebody else succeed. With this, he is showing the purity of his heart. That somebody else should succeed, even if I don't succeed, is this union of lashkot ilanot, to water trees. So they have children. One of them was a cripple. His brothers would give him, and he had enough. So whatever was beyond what he needed, he put it aside until he had enough money. And he said, something, let me do business on my own. Why do I need others to support me? And we said that this is again a very independent, very astute mind frame of a winner, because when somebody is in a situation where he is needy and he is being supported by others, usually it influences his point of view to the point that it makes him very, very bitter. I myself a cripple, and all other people are, they can walk and they can this or they can do that. And I'm dependent on them. So it causes this feeling of bitterness. And the tendency would be to use up everything that they give me so I could come to them and do a guilt trip on them and saying like, you're not embarrassed? You see that you can walk and I can't, and you're not giving me? I mean, how can you do that? What kind of monsters are you? And it's like, it's a whole mind game. And with this, he basically asphyxiates he fixes his condition as a receiver. He becomes a professional receiver, a professional cripple, a professional victim. Here we see that he's a winner because what I have, what I don't have, that's neither here nor there. I have what I have, and I am what I'm supposed to be. And the way I am vis-a-vis anybody else is a tremendous freedom of thought and freedom of mind that the person can look at himself and says, I can just, why should I receive from them? Why should I be dependent upon them? Whatever I receive, just put a little bit aside, because the tendency is when somebody is a taker, somebody is a receiver, if he has more than he usually has, he spends it quickly in order to come back to his envelope of comfort of being a receiver. And it's not just, it's a human trait, that goes deeper. That there are various sports that are statistic related, like it could be baseball. There's a batting average, or basketball. There's a percentage of shooting free throws, or whatever it is. But in baseball, it's the most evident that there is a batting average. There's somebody's, one Yotzmich has taken a ball and is throwing it to the plate, and the other one has a stick and he's supposed to hit it. And they're making millions of dollars a year. Just, now the thing is that basically, statistically, in sports, it's the hardest thing to do is to hit the ball, because so the superstars, they hit 3 times out of 10. It's called the betting 300. Somebody who was unbelievable, so he's like 310 or 320, which was like 3.2 times hits out of 10 times that he's being thrown at, of pitch to. Then you have a bunch of players, they're making like, could be, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 million dollars. I don't know how much they're making. Then you have people who are called, a 250 hitter or 270 hitter. 250 hitter means that he gets hits 25% of the time, 2.5 out of each 10 times. A 270 hitter means that 2.7 times out of every 10, statistically, this is when he gets hits. Now, the thing that is the most astounding about this is that they all have ups and downs all the time. In other words, everybody has slumps in which is hitting, I don't know, 1 time out of 10 or 1.5 times out of 10. In times where he's hitting 500. In other words, every one of 2 at bats, he gets a hit. But over time, it averages. And incredibly enough, they get this kind of averages year after year after year. So the question is, what determines why is somebody a lifetime 250 hitter and one is a lifetime 300 hitter? And the thing is that, which means each and every one of them is capable of hitting 500. They do. I mean, there's certain periods in which they do. But somehow, eventually, they end up being whatever it is the lifetime average is. Why is that? The answer is that this is the envelope of comfort in their heads. To be a 300 hitter means that you're getting the salary of a 300 hitter. Means that now you're expected to hit 300. They gave you a contract, and until now you made $1 million a year. Now you're making 10 or 15 a year. And they give you a 3-year or 40-year or 10-year deal, whatever it is, okay? It's a huge pressure. That means that when somebody's a 250 hitter, it doesn't mean that technically he is not as proficient as somebody who is a 300 hitter. It just means that the envelope of comfort in his head is that of a 250 hitter. And the minute that he exceeds this, subconsciously, he will put himself into a slump. So he will end up being where he is comfortable psychologically. The same time is over here. Technically, he's a cripple. But in his head, he's a 300 hitter. Somebody who has the mentality of a poor person, when he gets money, he's rich. The next day, he's poor because he'll spend all his money. When somebody's a rich person, he's comfortable with having. So he doesn't spend. I have, okay, now let's go and get more. It's all in your head. It is all in your head. So the first thing that we see from the cripple is that he doesn't spend what he has in order to pay lip service and to pay dues to his envelope of comfort. He's a winner. The family agrees. He gets himself the wagon. He gets himself the money. He goes, as we said, he goes in the forest. He wants they try to convince him to stop for the night in the hotel. He refuses. They continue. They go on. Robbers came. Then we said, you know what happened with the robbers? Why did the robbers come? What happened? How they became robbers? Bekitzer, now we are in the state where he was robbed. He is on the wagon. He's sitting on the wagon. They took absolutely everything he had. He finished the food that he had, and he threw himself down. We said that what we're dealing over here is true both psychologically for a person, because when a person gets stuck in any station in life, it's because his point of view is stuck. He's stuck in the wrong point of view. And when a person is stuck in the wrong point of view, mimela, financially, relationship-wise, whatever it is, he also gets stuck. The minute you change the point of view, you'll free yourself from being stuck. And the secret Rabbeinu shows us here is that in order to get unstuck, sometimes it's easier to go back, not forward. He's on the wagon. You can see plenty of people that are professional, I don't know, stars in any area, okay? And suddenly there's no more, he's no longer the star he was. He's in a different position in life. People get stuck on this and they can't move. They keep on insisting that we're between jobs, or the relationship problems is all because of her, all because of him, or whichever. The idea is over here, you can throw yourself down, start with something less than that. That will take this stuckedness out of your head. It could be a relationship. It could be, let's say that the person is into Avodas Hashem and he's learning and he's davening, and sometimes it happens, you get stuck. In fact, this is the thing that happened to Rabbi Levi Yitzchak Berditchev. Rabbeinu said so, that, towards the end of his life, for a period of time, that he was a tremendous Baal Madrega, to the point that, there's a famous story that the Maggid of Mizrich, he had his own minyan. And he did not want Levi Yitzchak Berditchev, who was one of his students, one of his pupils, that he should be part of the minyan. Once they didn't have a minyan, so the Maggid sort of acquiesced and said, okay, let him come in. And I think when they said, the Kedusha, whatever it is, I believe Yitzchak fainted. So the Maggid said, I told you he was a Shemizalnik. He was no good. What did it mean? He says, because when there's the Kedusha, so he sees the Shechina, so he faints. We need people who don't see. They don't see the Shechina, so they don't faint. Give me a normal person. Don't give me a Shemizalnik, sees the Shechina, boom, he faints. And towards the end of his life, all the madrigas were taken away from him. And Rabbeinu said so. And he said, you should see that until now, in Shachris, when we say, that all the malachim and all the srafim and akdoshim, it says Kodesh, 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 Hashem Tzvakos. So the Beit Shalom used to say the names of the malachim. He says now, when you'll see that he's davening, he's no longer saying names because he's Ish Emes. He's a man, if he doesn't see it anymore, he doesn't call them anymore. He doesn't mention by their names. All his mental faculties, all his madrigas were taken away from him. Can you imagine what it is like to be the Kedushas Levi? One of the pillars of Yiddishkeit, with madrigas, the unbelievable madrigas. And one day, you can only daven like a little kid. Baruch, Atah, Hashem, nothing shines, you don't see anything. And the Berditchev Rav davened the same way, with the same oomph, the same koyach, the same effort. He put him to say Baruch Ato Hashem as he did before. He was at the top of Mount Everest. He was already Bashaman. He saw the Shechina. Suddenly nothing. Okay, so that's what I do. That's the ultimate greatness. Or being great or being small doesn't make a difference to you. You're serving the Kodesh Baruch Hu this way or that way. So he threw himself down and says, then he said that whatever it is that he was doing, he would eat grasses that were around him. And when he couldn't reach anymore, he he would like crawl a little bit and then reach out. And what we spoke about here, we're talking about this mechanism that Rabbeinu tells us about the union of Nekudas Tevis. We said that it's a common thing, by people that let's just read this and we'll talk about it a little bit more. He says that when the Kala Esev, when the grass is finished around him, he couldn't reach it, he would crawl a bit more. He says once he came to such a grass that he has never eaten like this one before. Since he was eating grass for a long time, he could recognize them, and he's never seen Esav because I've never seen a grass like this. And he says, okay, he says, something, he reflected, let me take it out from its root. And under the root, there was a diamond. Okay? This is what we're talking about today. So we said that when a person, this union of eating grass, is when a person sees that he's losing the chayas in the mitzvahs that he held before. I remember when I discovered Yiddishkeit, it was so great. And I used to daven, used to this. Now, okay, things became old. Move, crawl, do something, learn something, daven something, find something to rechay yourself. It's such a fundamental understanding in Yiddishkeit that you have to keep yourself moving at all times. If you're just happy and satisfied with just, taking the fast lane, the easy lane, listen, I'm inside, I'm a Yid. I keep Torah mitzvahs, I keep Shabbos. Fine, you don't need anything else. Say that you keep Shabbos. China, this, that, whatever, struggle. What are you talking about struggling? Fine, you go, you daven, whatever, everything, life is good. But if you want to be a tycoon, if you want to be, a billionaire, and here we're not talking about a billionaire with money. Here we're talking a billionaire in infinity, in eternity. You're a warrior. You're a fighter. So if you're a fighter, you need, a fighter does not sit in the office, and weaves or make sweaters. A fighter is somebody that goes in the field and is fighting in different conditions. A hero and a fighter is judged on how he keeps his head under adverse conditions. You can make a ton of mistakes. All conquering heroes make mistakes. But the idea is, the Zohar says, who is the one who's winning the battle? He talks about Lulav and Esron. He says, who it is that is winning the fight. He says, when we are coming out of Yom Kippur, we're going into Sukkot, we're holding the Dalet Minim, we're showing the entire world we're the winners. So Zohar says, how do you recognize the winner? There's somebody who holds the weapons in his hands. That's the winner. You're a winner by holding the weapon in your hand. The winner is the one who hits the hardest. What do you mean you're holding this? You're holding it in your hand. It says, Begashmius, you may be the winner if you hit the hardest. But in Ruchnius, the winner is the one that holds on. This world is the opposite of Olam HaEmes, of Olam Haba. Olam HaEmes is the world of truth. You just want to have it easy, just to belong to the camp of the good guys. Following these kind of limudim is not for you. This is if you want to be a champion. these kind of limudim is if you want to make it to the top of the hill. You want to go out of this world, having thought of what the tachlis, what the purpose of this life in this world is all about, and stick with it. So when you get to the next world, you're clean, you're full. You have whatever it is that you need to have. So this is why we are learning, and we're getting all these chizukim, all these tricks and strategies and tactics of how to keep yourself, when you're going up, to keep on going up, and when you're going down, don't let yourself fall down more, and hold on. This is where the story is. Now we're sort of getting into finding the diamond. Obviously, finding the diamond talks about a change of paradigm. It's a dramatic change from one situation to the next. The way that it's being achieved is by him finding and b'mechaya himself with good points. Look at me, how am I not, whatever it is. Yeah, but I daven today. No big deal, everybody davens. Yeah, but I daven today. I'm not anybody else. I daven today. But how did I daven today? It doesn't matter. What do you mean it doesn't matter? Everybody davens. Yeah, but I daven today. And I put on film. Whoa, big deal. Everybody puts on film. Yeah, but I put on film. The thing is, I put on film. Film are the crown of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's only when you learn, you learn either Kisvei Arizal, or you learn Likutei Halachos, you learn the Sfarim HaKadoshim, and you find out what tefillin really are. You realize that it's being camouflaged from you so that you will have the free choice to feel it was a big deal, so I put it on film. Because the fact that you put on film, Rabbeinu says, if a person really thought for a second, really reflected and achieved a true presence of mind, a true reflection, he would realize this is the world of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So Rabbeinu says, "Lo mebaya that to do something against the Ratzon HaKadosh Baruch Hu." This is a person should be appalled by the idea of doing something against the Ratzon HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He says, not only that, he says even to do a mitzvah. Even to do a mitzvah, even to do a mitzvah, he said, if you knew what tefillin are, do you know what chutzpah it is? Suddenly to take the tefillin and put it on your head, to put the crown of the king to put it on your head. If you really realized what it really was, what it really is, you'd be ashamed even to do a mitzvah. Forget about doing a very chas v'chav, even a mitzvah. This is what this is really about. Looking for Nekuda Tova is basically telling yourself, look, let's be realistic. I really don't see the real value of the things that I do. It's not my fault. That's the way HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world. There's a veil that covers everything, and I'm supposed to fight through. Do the things that I don't feel, that I can't see, that I don't realize, that as if they do not excite me, out of resolute stick-to-itiveness, because I know and I believe that it's a great thing, that which I do. I take a piece of food and I make a bracha on it. Oh, by the time I take it, and by the time I get into my mouth, I'm not going to eat the tissue. But anyhow, the time you pick it up until it reaches your mouth, you already said whatever bracha it was. What was it? What did you make? Which bracha did you make? I don't know. And bracha harayna, I'm done. I made brachas. I made brachas. But if I were really to realize that the coffee or the tea or the candy or the vegetable or whatever it is, or the meat, whatever it is that I'm eating, is the sparks of Kedusha in it, the neshamas that are incarnated in it. And when I make a bracha b'chavana, I elevate them. And these are neshamas from my shirish, they're from my root. It's not a coincidence that I find an apple. Oh, let's find an apple. It has, Yosef Zuchmer is Megulgul is incarnated in this apple. Okay, I have a. That's not. The point is that whoever it is that's Megulgul in that particular apple has to do with me. It's not a coincidence that Baruch Hu gave me this particular apple or that particular cup of tea. Everything is precise. Ultimately, it's whoa. I'm supposed to make a bracha on this? If you had a baby in your hands, you're supposed to save this baby's life. You'd freak out. Somebody help. Do something to feed this baby, starving. Same thing as you have a candy. There's a neshama in there. There's a baby in there. And it's your baby. It's nagir to you. Make a bracha. Okay, but it doesn't shine. It's okay. The fact that it doesn't shine is part and parcel of the whole deal. Because the Kadosh Baruch Hu wanted to, created us so he can give us. And he wanted to give it to us so that we receive it with dignity. So it shouldn't be what they call nama de kisufa. The Zohar says, he who eats something that doesn't belong to him, you go to somebody else's house and you eat some of this bread, he says, he's ashamed to look at that person's face. I don't know if you're guessed by somebody, you go for Shabbos Kana, or I'm not saying, I'm saying, but if you really don't have, and somebody else gives you food, you're embarrassed to look at them. So Kodesh Baruch Hu wanted us, the greatest goodness is that we should earn whatever it is that we get. And the afterwards, the schar that we get is not commensurate with the kind of effort we put in. Nevertheless, we need to have choice. Because without choice, there's no growth. Then the Kodesh Baruch Hu wants to give schar. So for this, the Kodesh Baruch Hu had to create two worlds. He had one reality in which the value of doing mitzvahs or the horrendous, the appalling loss of doing a virus will be concealed. And then another world where all this is taken away, and this is the Olam HaSchar. What we're learning over here is that if you want to make it big, if you really want to continue, look, I don't know how old you are, but whatever it is, every single day in this life is a chance that will never repeat. That's it. Today is gone. Today is gone, finished. I'll do it tomorrow. What you have to do tomorrow is totally different. A different avoider, different days, a different avoider. You know that there's the Siddur of a Rashash, in which he has a different kavanas on the entire davening. Kavanas Arizal, Pi Arizal. That you have, I think it's like 8 volumes. Like every single page, you have every single word, you have like especially when you get to Kriyat Shema, Shmones, or whatever it is, every single word has a whole page of intentions that just of meditations. You're supposed to meditate. You think it in your mind. So like one bracha is like, can be 30 pages, 8 volumes of a siddur, kavod asari, al pi harashash, Rab Shalom Sharbi, zchuto tagen aleinu. And the Rashash himself explained that the entire Siddur HaRashash were the kavonas of Arizal one day. Every single day, there's a brand new Siddur HaRashash for Arizal. Every single day, he made a kavonas that for that particular day, because no 2 days are the same. And here we are, walking blind. Anybody there? I don't feel anything. Yes, but I believe. And how do I pass this bridge over troubled water? Nekudas Tevis. I did this. Yeah, and I may be, the worst that you can think of, but I did it. I did this or I did that. I put on film. I davened. I said brachas. But how did I say the brachas? Yeah, but one of them I said b'chavona. One bracha I said b'chavona. Do you know what that means? Yeah, but what about all the brachas that you said b'chavona? No, listen, that's it's Alma de Shikra. Everything is covered up. But I managed to get one bracha. I managed to learn one Mishnah, one pasuk. I managed to do that. That's eternal. That's forever. And the thing is that you have to understand, when you look at it from afar, it looks like, all right, it's a big deal. I'll do it every day. Well, everybody does it. But that is because you're looking at life, from a distance, at what it is you're doing from a distance. There is something which is called the red shirt syndrome. If you are going into a hole right now, if you remember those days, that you were able to go to a hole, there are a whole bunch of people in there. Years ago, before the corona, just to be able to go to a hole, there are a lot of people there, whatever. And I would tell you, something, close your eyes. Okay, I'm closing my eye, I don't see anything yet. So how many people around here are wearing red shirts? I don't know. How do you expect me to know? What do you mean? You came in, you saw the people here. I don't know. Okay, now open your eyes, all right? Now tell me how many people are wearing their shirts. Okay, there's 1, there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. How come you see it now? You didn't see it before. Because I wasn't looking for it before. I wasn't looking for it before. When you're looking for something, you start seeing it. When you're looking for Nekudas Tevis, and you look at them, and you really look at them, and you talk to Kodesh Baruch Hu about them, suddenly they begin to glow. Suddenly, first of all, they keep you going. They keep you going because you feel more, you feel less, you keep on going. I did this. It seems like, yeah, but what did it, it didn't change. Yes, it did. It changed you because you keep on looking for the Nekudas Tevis, to the good points in you. I listened to my wife. Maybe she made me upset and I kept my mouth shut even though I wanted to say something. Or there was somebody in shul who did something and I really felt like saying something really, really smart, but I decided against it. Wow, that's a Nekudas Tevis. That's a great thing. If you keep on looking at it, you end up seeing them. And then you get to the point where they open the gates for you. The main nakuda is that I remember this, like, I don't know, it wasn't 40 years ago, but it was almost 40 years ago. I was davening together with the guys in Bnei Brak. They were davening Vasikin, and they were lions, Oved Hashem, tremendous. Every single morning they will come there, it's like, and they were davening with such koiches and such unbelievable. And I remember there was a seminal moment in my development as a Jew. I had a period of time where, I came and I davened, and the tefillah had no taste in my mouth. And I wanted, fresh Baal Tshuva, whatever it is, I wanted to. And man, it was like eating straw, like chewing straw. And I discovered that I daven Nusach Harizal, the Nusach of Chabad. I started with that, so I kept on using that. So Nefilas Apayim in the morning, I realized I was not able to daven any part of the tefillah with any sort of intention of kavanah, except in Nefilas Apayim, in Tachna, in the morning, which says, the one pasuk that says, Tzoras levavi yirchivu, the straits of my heart has widened. From my distress, release me. It was one pasuk I was able to say b'chavana. My heart would open in that little pasuk. That's it. Nothing else would work from before or after. Just that. So I remember I somehow I had the seichel to stick with this thing. Okay, that's what I can do. This one pasuk, from beginning to the end, everybody around me are angels. They're like seraphim. They're like, they're burning the heavens. They're, grabbing angels and malachim left and right. I'm telling you, these are people in their 30s that were performing miracles. I'll tell you stories about them. They were performing miracles. And here I am, unable, to keep in mind, a word for the entire davening. It's not I didn't want, I wanted to, except for one pasuk in the Nefilas Apayim. And I stuck with it. And I stuck with it, and I stuck with it, and I stuck with it. I don't remember how long it took. And suddenly one day, pow, everything exploded, everything opened up. Then I got it. That's the secret. That's the secret. That's the Nekuda Teva. You keep with it, you stick with it, you find the diamond. Things will open. Yeah, but look at me, I'm already old, I'm already this, I'm already that, whatever it is. That's my story, that's my habit. I'm an awful person, and I'm this, and I'm that, and I have no bandwidth for anybody, and I don't have patience for everybody. Just leave me alone. One little pasuk. Yeah, that's the one. Hold on to it. That's the Nekuda Teva. And then add another Nekuda Teva to it. I put on film. I give out. I put on film. Okay. Odd Nekuda Teva. And stick with it. And bam, it'll open. But Hashem should help us, each and every one of us. Grab hold of whatever it is you can. You daven, you see that davening is not what it's supposed to be. In fact, the davening is pathetic. Fine. Find one pasuk, one word that you can say b'kavanah, and stick with it. If you stick with it, it'll open up. B'ezrat Hashem, next week, we will learn what happens when it opens up. I've been dragging you guys along for long enough time to start, when the good times start, it's all about struggle, 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 when did the party start, when does the show start, when the comedian comes and, the magician comes and pulled the rabbit out of the hat. It's a shame we'll start next week with that. All right.